Hello, friends. It's Jay Sexton with Sexton Financial Mentoring, bringing you our last video in the budgeting series, episode 10, Reconciling. In this video, we'll show you how to bring your bank statement and your budget together and make sure that they agree and that all of your transactions match. This is very important because the bank's transactions are going to be the correct ones. And you'll find that occasionally you'll make a typo or you'll omit something, or maybe you paid with another form of payment and you accidentally put it in your budget thinking that you paid with your debit card and the transaction doesn't even belong there. Whatever the case is, reconciling your budget against the bank statement is a very important way to keep yourself accurate throughout this budgeting process. So far, we've shown you 10 videos, all the way from setting up the template itself to populating it, doing some research to figure out how to get started, and then getting started. We've shown you how to deal with some bumps in the road. And then finally, we wrap up with reconciling your budget against the bank statement. This is an extremely important step, and please don't leave this one out. So I hope that these have been helpful for you. It's been a pleasure making these videos. Look for more videos on our channel. We'll have a classroom playlist coming soon that'll show you, teach you about different finance and economics topics, and some shorts, reels to just give you little bits of thoughts to ponder. So thank you for everything, and we'll look forward to seeing you in the next videos. Get your Budget Excel workbook ready to go, and let's get to it. All right, we have our budget spreadsheet opened up to the beginning when we started, and we started this in the pay period for April 21st, and when we reconcile, we're using the bank statement, the one they send you either in the mail, or sometimes if you choose to get it electronically, you'll get a PDF or some other format, but you're going to need that too. So in this example, I've created just a mock-up of a bank statement. As you can see, it's not real, and it contains these transactions that we've been making throughout our budgeting process. So we're going to reconcile our budget with what the bank says that we should have. And the reason this is important to do is because sometimes you'll find that you've made a typo in your budget and the amount is wrong, or maybe you forgot, the receipt printer was out of paper or something and you didn't get a receipt and you just forgot. And sometimes you'll find those things in the bank statement, and you'll have to update your spreadsheet. There's going to be I won't say never, but extremely rare instances where your budget is right and the bank statement is wrong. So if you find something that you really believe is accurate in your budget and the bank statement is wrong, especially if you have a receipt to confirm that, you'll have to work that out with your bank. But in nearly every single case, when you find a mistake, it's because you made a mistake in your budget and you're going to have to correct it to match the bank. I've mentioned a few times in this process, the way that I do reconciling is just by changing the color. Now, some of these you'll notice are already orange. That's because we don't reconcile them. Things like the budget bucket and the previous amount, those aren't reconciled because they never show up on the bank statement. The bank statement has no idea that we budgeted for this much money for these categories and that we moved it forward if we didn't use it all. That's not, the bank only will reflect transactions, deposits, withdrawals, checks, debits, those kinds of things. So that's what we're going to be reconciling. And just for convenience, I made the reference range for the bank statement from April 21st to May 21st. So your bank's not going to line up exactly that way, but it doesn't matter for the purpose of just showing you. So we're starting here at the beginning of our budget period, which we started this on April 21st, and the budget reconciliation will go through May 21st. So you'll see May 21st is going to land over here in the middle of this pay period. So it's not going to be a nice clean, we'll reconcile all of these and all of these and all of these. It'll some of the things in here will get reconciled and some of them won't get reconciled until the next bank statement is put out. So let's see what we have to get started here. So the first transaction we have, and of course these will indicate the name of your workplace or something else. I just tried to make it match a little bit in our budget so it's easier to look at. Workplace number 1 on 421 for $13,1332. So when I go up there, I should see $13,1332 on April 21st for my first workplace income, and I do see that. So I'm going to go ahead and change that to orange. Now that means that's been reconciled. So when I go back and look through previous periods in my budget, if I see something that's highlighted but not reconciled, then something needs to be looked at. Maybe I missed it in the bank statement. Sometimes you'll be going through this, you'll just skip one, whoops, but that'll stick out in your budget. So that's why I color code these differently, because you'll see a bright yellow one, and a bunch of orange, and you go, why isn't that reconciled? And you'll go back and look. So I just missed it when I was doing my reconciling, or maybe something happened and that transaction never happened. Another thing that happens I've seen with clients is they've used a credit card for a purchase somewhere, and they thought they used their bank card. And so they put it in their budget, but it never showed up on their bank statement because it wasn't a bank transaction. It was a credit card transaction. And then they had to go in their budget and take that out. So you'll find things like that. And that's why we do it this way. And then we just go on down the list. So then I have 422 at high V for 137.92. I should go down here and find that 137.92. Yep, there it is. And Visa 422 for 140. Visa 140, 422. Yep, got that one. And then I'm just going to go on down the line. McDonald's 953 on the 22nd. Yep, got that one. And this is the whole process right here. Comcast 116 on the 23rd. That's my internet and cable, so that's correct. BP 52 on the 23rd. I see BP 52 on the 23rd. My electric provider 210 on the 26th. Go up here. Yep, there's 210 on the 26th, so that's correct. Casey's 1274 on the 27th. 1274 on the 27th. That's correct. AT&T 94 on the 27th. AT&T 94 on the 27th. And so you see, this is a pretty easy, quick process. Shell 4254 on the 28th, 4254 on the 28th. And my next workplace deposit was 1123.11 on the 28th. Is that what I have? 1123.11 on the 28th. So that's good. Walgreens 2617 on the 29th, 2617 on the 29th. Got it. High V 118.49 on the 29th, 118.49 on the 29th. And Walmart 49.71 on the 29th. Got it. And Nelnet 150 on the 30th. Got that correct. And BP 54.71 on the 30th, 54.71 on the 30th for BP. Got it. Mortgage bank, whatever the name of your bank is, on the 1st for $1,200. Mortgage on the 1st for $1,200. Got that. Casey's 43.67 on the 2nd. Casey's 43.67 on the 2nd. And oops, let me fix a typo here real quick. Got a T in there for some reason. And then these transfers, they're going to show up, however on your bank statement, because they're internal. So mine show up, it looks like this: bank transfer to savings, $200 on the 4th. That was these, remember we do those at the end of the pay period. And then we had property tax, 83.33 on the 4th. That was an internal transfer, so we got those. And then we had Target on the 4th, 1741 on the 4th. We shouldn't have anything else on the 4th. The next goes to the 5th, which is the start of the next pay period. So we've reconciled all of these, except I missed one. What happened here? So I go back. Did I overlook that somewhere? I should have had a car payment on the 3rd. So I'm going back up here, and I don't see that. So I'm going to need to figure out, why did that car payment not show up in my bank statement? It could have been, sometimes what happens is, let's say I just bought this car, and the payment isn't going to start until June 3rd, and I thought it was going to start May 3rd. So I put it in here, and it turns out that it didn't start then. So we're going to have to figure out why, or it could have not been processed at the bank until sometime after the 5th, because that's pretty close. So that happens. So this is one, and I put that in there on purpose so you could see this stands out. If I'm looking at my budget, I go, why isn't this reconciled? Everything else around it's reconciled. So that's one that we will have to go back and figure out why that didn't work. And then just another note is we've been through this several times. This account pad, you do not reconcile that. Don't reconcile that, because that's what gives you that little bit of buffer as a safety net. So don't touch that. That one will stay like that forever. So we've done this whole pay period, except we're going to have to go figure out where our car payment is and why it didn't show up on that bank statement. The bank statement then goes all the way to May 21st, so we're not done. We're going to go on to the next pay period. So on the 5th, I should have another workplace deposit for 1332, and there it is, 1332. So that's correct. So we'll change that. Hy-Vee 119.42 on the 8th. And I go, oh, 119.42, but it's not on the 8th, it's on the 6th. So one of the things I also did here, I want you to see. So we said, we get paid on Friday, which was the 5th. We went shopping on Saturday, which was the 6th. Sometimes the bank doesn't process your weekend transactions until Monday. So you have it in here as the 6th because you went shopping on Saturday. That's what your receipt says, and that's what you should do. But the bank says it was on the 8th because they didn't process that transaction until Monday, and that is very common. So don't worry if the bank shows your weekend transactions as a Monday date. You put them in there based on the date that they happened, and don't change that practice. Don't try to guess. You'll just have to see that sometimes the bank is going to be a day or two ahead, especially on those weekend transactions. So that's okay. So then we have Target. Again, it shows up on the 8th here, 45.21. So we go to Target, we have 45.21. That's correct. Then we have Walmart, 31.11. 31.11, that's correct. BP, 51 on the 8th. BP, so this was actually Sunday, but it showed up on Monday, which is fine. Shell, the 36.01 on the 8th. Shell, 36. Oh, I have 10. The bank says it's 36.01, but I have 36.10. So what happened is I just transposed those numbers. So I'm going to go in and I'm going to update mine to say 36.01 to make sure it matches the bank 36.01, and then I'm going to reconcile that. So that's what I was saying earlier. Sometimes you'll find little things like that where you transpose some numbers, or you mistype the numbers, and this is where you make those corrections. So after Shell, we had State Farm for 126 on the 10th. That should have been a scheduled. So we have home insurance, 126 on the 10th. Crazy Horse Salon, that's totally made up. There's probably one somewhere, but not here. $50 on the 10th. I had Salon, $50 on the 10th. Allstate, 212 on the 11th. That should have been my car insurance, 212 on the 11th. There's Allstate. Meyer, 87.33 on the 11th. There's Meyer for 87.33. Target, 67.55 on the 11th. There's Target for 67.55 on the 11th. And our second workplace payday was 11.33.11. Got that on the 12th. Okay, we're at the end of that page, so we'll scroll down to page 2. And then we have Texas Roadhouse. We went out to dinner, 42.73 on the 13th. We just put it in there as dinner, but I would make sure that actually said Texas Roadhouse. BP on the 13th, again, 44.25. We have BP for 44.25 on the 13th. Then we have Shell for 37.88 on the 13th, and we find Shell for 37.88 on the 13th. Then we have Netflix for $15.99 on the 15th. We see it there. That's good. Ameren, 39.14 on the 15th. 39.14, our gas provider, on the 15th. And then we have Discover, $70 on the 17th. So we have that. Now we're at the end of our pay period. We're going to do our emergency transfers probably, and there they are. We have a transfer to savings for $280. That went to the emergency fund. We see that there. We had another one for $83.33. That went to our property tax. We see it there. And then we had a third one for $80.86 that went to our reserve funds, and we see that there. So now we've reconciled this whole pay period. Everything's orange. Everything looks good. We're going to assume we went back and we figured that out, so I'm just going to paint it orange. That's only for our example. Don't just do that. Make sure you've figured that out in real life when you're doing this budget. We're going to scroll over a little bit, and we're not quite done because this goes through the 21st. So we have on the 19th, we have our next paycheck, $14.27.04 on the 19th. $14.27.04 on the 19th. That's good. Then we have City payment, $110 on the 20th. There's City for $110 on the 20th. And we have Meyer, $126.95 on the 20th. Got that. We have Walgreens, $36.41 on the 20th. Walgreens, $36.41 on the 20th. We have BP 5212 on the 10th, BP 5212. Whoops, not the 10th, the 20th. Sorry. I put it in there as the 10th because that's a typo that I made there. Should be the 20th. Target 1927 on the 20th. Target 1927. No, I have 1917. So there's another example of a typo. The 2 and the 1 right next to each other. That's pretty common. So I need to update my budget to reflect the bank statement. Now I verify 1927 at Target on the 20th, 1927 at Target on the 20th. So now I'm at the end of my bank statement. Everything else happened after the 21st. So you'll see, well, you go, I still have a couple on here. I took out some cash for this birthday on the 20th. Casey's I have on the 21st, and you said this went through the 21st. But remember, I also said that the bank doesn't always process your transaction. They'll approve it. It'll go through. The transaction happened. But during their audit, it doesn't show up necessarily for a day or two. So even though this says the 20th and this says the 21st, and this went through the 21st, what I'm going to find is that on my next bank statement, which will start on 5/22, those two transactions will likely show up as some of the first transactions. If they don't, then they'll be yellow still, and I'll have to figure out why they didn't show up. But I'm confident that they will. That's pretty common for those transactions to lag a day or two in your bank statement. So we've reconciled now one full bank statement. We see that everything's orange. If I was up here in the current area, I would see that this is my future transactions that I've done forecasting for. This is where I am currently, and I have some things that are orange here because they never get reconciled. They don't show up in the bank. But if I wanted to scroll back, I would go, okay, I'm fully reconciled up to here, meaning I'm confident that everything that I have entered in my budget is 100% accurate and agrees with what the bank has in their statement. And eventually you'll have years worth of these tabs. You'll have a new tab each year, which I showed you in a previous video. And they should all be orange or whatever color you choose. I've had some clients do green. I don't like to do that because I have green as my indicator for my balance, and also red, if you remember, you see that. So the reconciliation process is twofold. One, it's just to make sure that you match the bank, and that's extremely important because, like I said, the bank is going to be the accurate one. And also to give you an easy visual clue that you are done with that pay period. You've put everything in there, everything's reconciled, it's done. So reconciliation, always do that, and it'll help keep your budget accurate and up to date. If you haven't started these videos at episode 1, I really encourage you to do that. That's where we build the template that allows you to do all of this. Work through these episodes in order, episode 1 through 10. This will be the last video in this series showing you how to reconcile. We've gone all the way through the entire process. You should be able to use it by now. It's pretty simple, but it is sophisticated. So you can do a lot in here. There's a lot of formulas. And I encourage you to take this beyond what I've shown you. I've shown you the basic way to use it, and it's actually how I use it. I don't do anything more sophisticated than what I've shown you. But if you're really good at Excel, or you've got some really good ideas about how to improve on this, just go for it. Make it as easy and as powerful as you can. But this series will give you the steps to at least have a budget to use and to take control of your money. So I hope that this has been helpful for you. Please stay tuned for a quick support announcement, and I hope you all have a wonderful day. Thanks for watching, and thanks to all of you who have supported SFM in the past. While we do not charge for our instructional videos, we do need your support to keep them free. Any amount from $5 to $10 if you found the video helpful, to $50 or $100 if you'd like to make a donation on behalf of those who can't, or any amount in between is greatly appreciated. You'll see here a few convenient ways to contribute, and every single bit helps to keep our mission going, including subscribing to the channel and sharing the videos, so please do that too. Until next time, remember to sacrifice while it's voluntary. Bless you all.